Queen Mary University started off as a dream, but ended up, well, let's have a talk about it. Welcome back, and before people think I'm a hater, I've already made a video on why Queen Mary University is actually an underrated uni, but nothing is perfect. So let's go through what potential Queen Mary students should know before they make the selection. The first point is the most obvious, and that's the location. It's in London, but it ain't London. If the pictures in your head of studying at a London uni are this, or even this, then you're going to be in for a shock, because studying at this London university is going to be more of this and this. Like, I have to be frank here and say it ain't got that location factor like UCL, King's or Imperial have. This is something that you're going to have to get used to. And I do mean get used to, because not only will you have to go to uni in that area, but for a lot of you, you'll also be living there. Now, I've grown up in London, so when my friend went to collect his bike, which he locked at the tube station next to Queen Mary, and saw that his back wheel got stolen, that's just London. But other things, such as seeing people hustle on the streets outside the university with card games, that was new to me. I thought that only happens around New York street corners, and if you ever see this, don't ever interact with those people. There's usually one guy in the crowd who is watching out for the police, and there's another member of the public who's always putting money down, and he wins 50% of the time, and then he loses 50% of the time as well. But he's in on the scam as well. Point is, if you don't expect these kind of things, then you're going to be in for a surprise. So do prep yourself for the local environment being like this. Now, unfortunately, there's also not much to do for fun in the Mile End area, which is where Queen Mary's is located, especially for nights out. Granted, the transport links are great, just like you get from anywhere else in London, and you can get right into central London in about 15 minutes. It's just a little bit annoying having to always travel and then come back rather than having things to do on your doorstep. And even the food options in that area aren't all that. Generally, you have the same styles around there, mostly being chicken shops, and I like them just as much as the next person, but the amount of fried chicken shops are a bit crazy, and they're always called something like AFC, PFC, TFC, CFC. At least be creative with your names. And it gets a little tiring, because as much as Queen Mary's is a campus-based uni, the options on the campus itself aren't great. So because of that, you don't ever get to look forward to anything new opening up in that area, because even if something does open up, which is new, it'll generally be another burger or fried chicken shop. So moving now to things specific to Queen Mary, the university. And note, these are just my opinions, so don't come and sue me. The gym, which is called QMUL, is actually pretty decent. I don't know if they still do it there, but I remember they used to have an annual powerlifting competition, which was really good fun. It's expensive, though, for what it is. So uni gyms are supposed to be really cheap. And if I compare the Queen Mary gym to other London university gyms, the cost of a day pass at UCL's gym is cheaper. And when looking at the monthly membership options, the King's College gym is actually cheaper and also gives you access to 2 different gyms, whilst the option at Queen Mary is just for that one center at QMotion. And this sports aspect also reminded me of something else, which I don't really see the point of, and that's the Queen Mary's and Bart's rivalry. So Bart's is the Queen Mary Medical School, but everything about it is as if it exists as a separate institution. So from my experience, Bart students don't want to mix with the rest of Queen Mary and will actually just say that they go to Bart's instead of Queen Mary. This is the sort of general vibe that you get at the university, but you also see this in formally organized events as well. Not only do you have the Bart's versus Queen Mary varsity matches, which, that's not really a big deal. It's fine. But even in the inter-uni competitions, you see this. Barts usually have their own team. So you have situations where Queen Mary will be playing against Barts, and then one of them obviously will be knocked out of the competition. I just find it so bizarre, and I don't really see the point of it. So in reality, when you go Queen Mary, the vibe and what you're made to feel like is that there's 2 different universities, Barts and everyone else. And this sort of feeling filters down to the students, where because of this separation, it puts it into students' heads that it's a you versus them. And there's also 2 different types of students attending the university, which isn't great for student unity. And the institution as well has some long-standing issues, which when I talk to current students still exist. Admin is slow, and some of the things which you hope don't get delayed are things such as fee payments and course info. So these would be things where I need the action or answers of them to be fast and accurate. But it's not really the case here. And like I said before, when I've worked alongside more recent Queen Mary grads, they've all said that these issues still exist. They've also said something which I didn't believe. The students at Queen Mary were asked to snitch on the lecturers to management. So I didn't believe this. Then I did some research, and it's true. This was, or maybe still is, an institutional issue at Queen Mary University where lecturers have actually resigned from Queen Mary because students are being asked to snitch on them to the management if they know some of the staff will be going on strike. I don't know what I'm supposed to think about this apart from what kind of toxic atmosphere is there brewing at Queen Mary when you have such unhappy staff who are complaining publicly about the management and the working conditions. And moving on to something less toxic, but still a bit strange, is right in the middle of the university where everything happens is a graveyard. I'd always heard about this, but just thought,
what? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And didn't believe it till I saw it myself. I'm still surprised it's considered a normal part of the university. I'm talking about smack bang in the middle of uni where you pass by every day to go to your lectures and to your halls. And even though you end up getting used to it because you have to walk past it every single day, when you just take a step back and think about it, it's just a bit odd. Now, talking more about where you're going to be studying, the buildings aren't exactly great. There are some nice new buildings, but the thing is, they just end up looking odd because the rest of the buildings at the university are old and sort of run down. It is a very old uni, I'll give it that. And when you think of old English unis, you might be thinking of classic architecture, but that's not the case here. It's just square, grey buildings. And the insides aren't exactly inspiring. The library is just a basic design, similar to what you'll find in the rundown local government-owned libraries. And that was a bit of a letdown because studying at uni is supposed to be inspiring and be a place that you want to go, especially to motivate you when you've got a lot of assignments to complete. I've been to other unis and their libraries are definitely giving me the vibes of wanting to just go study there all day. And lastly, one of the big talking points people have in recent years is it's a Russell Group university. It joined the group in 2012 and is a big plus for the university to attract more students, but no one really gives it the respect amongst the Russell Group unis as one of the so-called elite British universities. It's always questioned if it belongs there by most students, and when looking at uni stats, it definitely does stick out. This stat of Russell Group unis where students are least likely to finish their degrees has Queen Mary University bottom of the 20 plus uni group. And that stat does translate into sometimes having students alongside you in lectures who aren't as motivated as you and in turn can impact your own studying. But this thing about attending a Russell Group uni as if it's the best and elite unis in the country isn't really that big of a deal. And I've actually made a video where from my research, I've identified 4 universities that are better than 80% of all Russell Group institutions. I'll leave that video next to me, so go check that out and I'll see you all in the next video.